child struggle with reading is scary beyond words because being able to read in today's society is as crucial to survival as hunting was for our ancestors. And being unable to read closes so many doors. We all know this. Chances are, if you're watching this, it's because you know someone who is struggling with reading, whether it's diagnosed or undiagnosed. So many people are never properly diagnosed, and the ones that do meet the criteria and do get a diagnosis, well, the minute they're told they have dyslexia or reading disability, they start to believe that they can never learn to read well. And many of them believe they are unable to learn. They believe that they're stupid, that they're dumb. As a teacher, years of conditioning had me thinking that the best we could do is offer these kids tools that allow them to read and write less and develop coping skills, maybe some basic literacy skills, and that ultimately they would be dependent on assistive technology. How terribly mistaken I was. Dr. Sally Shaywich, the leading expert on dyslexia and reading intervention at Yale University, states with the correct reading intervention, there is no excuse for a child to be unable to read. It is possible for even the severely dyslexic to learn to detect phonemes, to blend sounds together, to no longer reverse, to understand what they just read, to become fluent readers. Several years ago, I would have said, if you can get a dyslexic child to read, that's a miracle case. That's not your typical run-of-the-mill situation. It's not going to be a regular occurrence because I wasn't seeing that in the school system. By chance, by fate, call it what you want, I came across a reading intervention that was successfully able to retrain the brain of a struggling reader, and the results were astounding. The more I read about it, the more I couldn't stop thinking about it. In no time, I had pursued studies in various educational therapies like brain integration therapy, integrating primitive reflexes, integrated listening systems, and brain balancing. But the program that started this whole journey, the one that kept me up at night, was the self-field reading intervention, a unique technology-based reading therapy with the studies to back up their claims. I saw great success with Self-Field when I initially started with them. That's the program I used, I had trained with, but eventually the CEO of Self-Field Canada decided to create an even better program with the information that was coming out that we knew and had learned in the last 10 years on reading. And using all the same type of technology-based cognitive exercises, this reading technology addresses even more areas of reading breakdown, and the graphics are more modern and even more engaging. So even better than Self-Field, your child also has the option to do this program from home. This program is called LS Works, and in my opinion is by far the best one out there. With this reading program, I started seeing what I never thought possible. Kids with moderate to even severe dyslexia, even 13-year-olds, were reading in weeks to months, and moms were sighing in relief and celebrating. Whether that was the 13-year-old who first came to see me and could only read about 5 words at a kindergarten reading level, and in 4 months went up 15 reading levels, and might I just add, that was as per the school's assessment when he went back to school in the fall, not my assessment. Then there was the 16-year-old girl who could decode no problem, but could not retain or remember the content, had poor reading comprehension. And then there was the 8-year-old boy who had constant letter reversals, and within 3 weeks they were gone. This is what I see in my office all the time. Parents regularly tell me things like, he wants to read now. And by far the best comment that I've heard is I had to tell her to get her nose out of the books, to go outside, it's a beautiful day. So these are the kids who used to hate to read and do homework and are now choosing to read. They're reading willingly. These kids don't need another tutor. They do not need another remedial reading program. That will not work for these kids. They need an approach that corrects the source of reading disorders. These kids need a therapy that will train the brain to read in the same way that a fluent reader reads, which is from the left side of the brain. They need an engaging reading therapy that doesn't make them feel like they are reading at all, especially when they first begin, because let's face it, most of them have been in tutoring and haven't had great results. Most of these kids hate books. Reading Rockstar Bootcamp targets all of the areas that can contribute to a reading disorder or trigger breakdown in the reading processes. The first place I start, because I'm a registered holistic nutritionist, is with nutrition. There is a ton of research on the link between deficiencies in certain nutrients and how that impacts the eyes and the brain and the link with dyslexia and other reading disorders. Even food sensitivities, believe it or not, can be a factor. So after we look at nutrition, then we start cognitive exercises that science has shown can help turn struggling readers into willing, fluent readers. And if it is hard to imagine, let me tell you, I see it all the time. These educational therapies are what I call better brain rehab. They eliminate reversals, they eliminate words moving around the page by improving eye tracking and eye teaming as well as saccadic eye movements. They strengthen auditory processing and phonemic awareness, as well as the ability to remember and differentiate different phonic sounds, as well as how to blend them. It improves their reading comprehension by freeing up their working memory, so they are no longer using their working memory to decode, but rather to understand and retain the content of the text. It also coordinates the brain and the body, which is so important for reading success. This multi-sensory reading therapy integrates the most well-researched and science-based therapies that are aimed at correcting dyslexia and reading disorders, and it is all integrated into one program, Reading Rockstar Bootcamp. LS Works is the technology game-based platform which keeps kids engaged and motivated. They want to do reading therapy because it's unlike all the other reading programs and tutoring that they have done in the past. It doesn't feel like they're reading, or it doesn't feel homeworky. Results happen fast, and this creates a rewarding cycle. Believe it or not, these kids actually want to practice reading because they are seeing improvements, and that just continues to fuel this amazing cycle of motivation and increased confidence. So if you want to learn more about how you or your child can get started with Reading Rockstar Bootcamp, send me an email, give me a call, and we can chat and basically get you started. Thanks for watching.